Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Wherever you're at, I want to thank you for checking out the Cali Truck Stop Theater. And I'm going to try to make this really quick. I just wanted to put this out there. You know, I was, and this, I think this is one example of that would help me or that would help support, you know, what I think about the correct process or the correct way to fight against any injustices that are being done. Okay. Now, what I'm seeing is that you, amongst ourselves, as those who are against racist activities and against, and against police brutality, what I'm seeing amongst those who are against those things is that that group is splitting. That group is splitting within itself. You got one group of people saying that, you know, that the uprising that you see or that you hear about, or that maybe you are involved with, the uprising, you know, whether it's violence against the police or violence against a particular race or the rioting and looting and stuff like that. You got one group of people that says, you know, that is, you know, that type of uprising is the proper way to go about making change, to get things to, especially with the police department, to get that change to where you're not going to have so much police misconduct or you know, things like that. And then you got the other side of that coin that's saying that that all of these things are wrong and you shouldn't be doing that. Okay, but there is a small percentage that is pretty much like right in the middle, and I want to think I think that I am one of those very few people that are right in the middle. If there is a middle group, which is and you know, I want to make it clear, because you know, whenever I say that, you know, the police would need to be defunded, or the police need to stop doing whatever they're doing, or you know, these people shouldn't be rioting and stuff like that. I'm saying that, but I'm coming from an angle where, when it comes to having a response to the injustices that are happening, I'm not saying that we as people shouldn't use tactics such as rioting to make a change. I am saying that there is a time and a place. There's a time and a place for that to take place. Okay, but there's you know, there are some strict guidelines in taking that that particular that particular action. Okay, so, but here's the thing. I think that there comes a point to where rioting is a tool to use in the way to make a change for the better. However, I don't think that rioting is the first option to go to. Now, there's a difference between protesting, there's a difference between rioting, and there's a difference between looting. Okay? Now, looting, I will never get behind. I don't think that, especially in the case of, or in the situation where, you know, like George Floyd being killed. I still do not think that looting is ever the answer nor the action that should be taken, because looting a store has nothing to do with um, police brutality and the misconduct of the police um, who have been hurting citizens, hurting and killing citizens. Rioting, on the other hand, I see a benefit in rioting, but rioting shouldn't be done shouldn't be done so quickly. Okay. Now, protesting is one of the tools, one of the first tools that should be used in order to bring awareness to something. Okay. But the one thing the one thing that I don't see being used quite a bit is the legal process. Okay, I saw a video of Farrakhan, and he made a point, or he brought up an individual. Okay, and he actually did kind of make a point with this, but I'm not going to use his point. It's just that when he brought up this particular person, it brought to my attention of how I'm gonna say, quote unquote, the white people, the white society had handled a certain situation. Okay, now Farrakhan had mentioned about O.J. Simpson. O.J. Simpson was he was arrested. He was tried. He was charged and tried for the murders of his wife Nicole and her friend. I just had the man's name. But anyways, went to court for that. His life was on the line, and he got acquitted for that. He got acquitted for the murders, but that was Ron Goldman. That was the other person. But he was acquitted for the murders, but he was taken to court civilly. Okay, he was acquitted for the criminal charges, but he was found guilty civically for those murders. And this is what the white world does quite a bit, is that they will go to court. They will use the court system to try and get things done. Okay, they will use the court system to try and get things done. And this is what I have been saying in other videos, and for those who are on my Facebook page, that's what I've been posting up on my Facebook, is that instead of doing all this rioting and stuff like that, we need to go into other options before actually going into the rioting, because there's an order to certain things. Okay, now I understand the purpose of rioting, and rioting, like I said, is a tool, but each of these things alone are not they are not the cure-all for every situation. They are linked to a particular I would say fulcrum, I guess. They are linked to a fulcrum which makes the change. Okay, and that is your elected officials. Okay, now the court system is a great tool for that. But the thing is that you have to learn how to play the game. You have to learn how to make your arguments better than your opponent in court. If you can make your argument better than the opponent in court, it doesn't matter who was right or wrong. What matters is who has made the better argument. Okay, now that in itself is wrong, but if you want to make change, we have to make change at a level to where your elected officials, those who have been put in positions of authority to judge a certain thing, these are the people, this is the places where you are most effective. Okay? And like I said, all these other things, all the rioting, all the protesting, and all that other stuff, are tools to use in order to make a change. But when those things don't work, your court system is where you need to go. Your voting booths are where you need to go. Okay? Because these people have terms. These people are put into positions of authority because we, the people, put them there, and it's by our vote. Now, like I said, O.J. Simpson, the O.J. Simpson case, that that reminded me of what I was. That reminded me and reinforced my thought of that was the whole reason of going to court. Well, I hear people talking about, well, the court system is rigged. Is rigged for the white man and all this kind of stuff. That may have been the original way that the system was built, and it is still being built that way. But the way that you level the playing field, or the way that you get around to have a fighting chance, is by learning what system has been put in place and trying to learn how to use it. Okay? Now, the law doesn't care about color. It may seem that way, but the law does not care about color. The law is not a race. Okay? The law is just nothing but a created entity. It is a rule. It is a response to an action. It is a gateway to an action to give out a reaction. Okay? If that makes sense to you. So the law doesn't care who you are. The law doesn't care if you're black, doesn't care if you're white, doesn't care if you are from another planet. It is who is using the law that matters. Okay? And we are living in a country to where it is run and governed by rules and laws and codes and sanctions and anything else that you can think of that describes rule and control. Okay, that's what this nation was built upon, and anybody who knows how to use it can use it to their advantage. Okay, why do you think you got people who or businesses, people who put their financials into a fake entity? It's not a real person, but it's a fake, or what they would call a straw man, which has all the rights as a person, but it is fictitious. It is not real. Okay. How is it that somebody can put all of their assets into this thing and control it as if it was them, but yet it's not associated with them? It's because these rules have been made up to make a certain, as a protection, as a barrier. They're made up And these rules and these laws and stuff, they, like I said, they don't care who you are. If you put them in action, they will give you a result. So that's a good example. Okay, you got corporations, which are what is called a straw man. It's a fake entity. It's a business. Okay, these are all words that are describing what a corporation is. A corporation comes from the word corpse, which is a body. Okay, so there's rules that govern business that will help people to succeed in getting or keeping whatever it is that they want to be able to keep. There was, I forget who mentioned this. I think it was Rockefeller or somebody like that. But it was something to the effect of, I can't think of the exact words, but I'll try and communicate the way that I can say about it. You have all the wealth, but you control nothing. And what that means is that you have all the wealth. Like, let's say you put your money into something. You have all the power, all the wealth at your fingertips, but it's not associated with you. Okay, it's given a dummy entity, a fake entity. So, and this is a protection. And I don't mean to stick too long on this particular subject, but I'm just trying to explain that using the law is, when it was started by white people. They made rules and regulations and laws so that it would benefit them. Okay, but now in today's age, we are offered some of the same opportunities to use the things that they created to protect us. And you got people who are constantly talking about how the rules are set up for white men. The black man is always down, and this and that, and it's not built. It's not built for the black man to prosper and all this kind of stuff. And these are all ways of thinking. We really do have, and even several hundred years ago, black people, or those who are less fortunate, have the if they have the opportunity and the drive to learn, they can learn the same system, and they can learn the same system, and they can learn how to use the system to their advantage. So that saying of like, well, X and X and X is made to keep the black man down and all that kind of stuff, is it's an excuse. In this day and age, it's an excuse. Most of us nowadays know how to read, and if you don't know how to read, well, then that's a part of that can be attributed to you not having the drive and the ability, or the drive and the determination to go and get yourself capable of reading. Okay, so you can read, learn how to how the system operates. You don't have to be an expert at everything, but try to learn how to do something. And I'm saying all this to say that when it comes to making a change, if protesting doesn't get it, it makes people aware of things. If protesting doesn't do anything, if going to your elected officials and telling them, hey, we need this thing to change. We need that thing to change. If going to your elected officials aren't helping, there are other avenues. I mean, you might have to go and sue people. If it's in dealing with your elected officials, if they're not willing to handle the situation and come to a compromise with you on trying to get some things changed, then it's time for you to stand up and change the person that's sitting in that seat. Get somebody in there who will make the changes that you want. And that's the power of the vote. But to riot, I think that's one of the very last things that should be done. Because when you're going out to riot, what you're doing is you're going out to start destroy stuff, and that's typically what people use the rioting for, is to go and destroy. Well, in this case, everybody's talking about the white man and all this kind of stuff. But let's just use the police department. The police department is being brutal to the citizens that it's supposed to protect. Well, you go to the police department, or you go to the police chief, more specifically, to have this situation addressed. You go to the mayor, the mayor, the governor, all these people, and nothing is getting done. Then I can see, okay, nothing is getting done. These people are in office to govern, to govern us the way that we want, or the way we need to be governed. And if they're not willing to do anything, well, then we are going to use our power to remove you from your position, and we're going to put somebody in the vote. And what if the vote doesn't work? Well, hey, by all means, go. I would say, I guess, coming to the point of rioting would be the proper way to go. But you need to figure out how you're going to do it. You can't just go out. You just cannot go out and just start tearing up any and everything that you see out there on the streets. That's not cool. Especially when it comes to, especially when you're out here screaming and crying about how the white man is doing you wrong. You're going out here to your neighborhoods, and you got people who are of different nationalities. I mean, you got blacks, you got whites, you got Mexicans, you got Middle Easterners. You got all these other different type of races that are inside your communities. And so just going out to any one of these stores or whatever to go and vandalize it, or even go steal from these businesses, is not the right way to do it. If you want to make your point heard, and you want action to come out of it, you go after the target. You go after the entity that started the whole thing. Don't just go blanket everything. You got some people that have built their whole lifetime thus far, getting their business and building it up to where it currently is, and then for you to go and tear it down and destroy it, that is a major heartbreak for that person. Especially if that person they were not the cause of the current problems. So, and I'm gonna cut this short because I'm going to end up losing my, the camera's going to end up shutting off after a while. But my point is that we gotta start using other options besides going out and rioting and tearing up our neighborhoods. We shouldn't go out and tear up other people's property, especially if they don't. If the places that we go and tear up had nothing to do with the situation that started that started the whole riot situation in the first place. I've been saying that from day one that all these riots started, is it's not the right time to do that. And obviously when you look at it, it takes the focus off of the initial problem, and it starts putting the focus on those who are out there rioting and looting and stuff like that. So, and it was just plain to see with George Floyd. Yeah, the focus was on the police, um, you know, killing this man. But see, the media, they don't want to focus on the police. They want to focus on everything else besides the source of the problem. And so yeah, the focus was on the police, but they tried to minimize the amount of time that was being focused on the police. They started focusing on George, trying to bring to light the things that he had done in his past, and then trying to make it sound like, well, trying to make it sound like his past is what brought about the police interaction and stuff like that. Which that's a whole other debate. And even if all the things that he did in his past got him to the point to where he had the interaction with the police officer, it still does not justify that the police officer should have killed this man. Okay, that's irrelevant. Okay, that shouldn't have been brought up just for the purpose of saying, well, if he hadn't had this particular past, this wouldn't have happened. But like I said, the media was trying to not focus so much on the police and their actions. Okay, so they were trying to put the attention on George, on Aubrey, on all these other people who had been on the business end of these botched police interactions. Okay, and then when all the rioting and stuff started happening, the media switched their focus from that to all the rioting and stuff like that, and they started focusing on all the rioting. So now the police officers now, their story has been put on the back burner now, because now they're putting their focus on the rioters, the looters, the protesters. And it's all systematic. It's all done to at least from the way that I look at it, it's done to try and sweep what the police and what the racist side is trying to hide, so that it can continue its trickery and all this other kind of stuff. It's focusing on, it's trying to put your attention onto something else so that you can forget about the initial problem. Okay, and this is why this happens a lot now, or this is why the cycle continues to happen. You're gonna see a bunch of stories just popping up out of the blue about a white cop destroying or killing a black citizen, and then all of a sudden after the initial opening of the situation, then the focus turns away from the police officers to the people that the police were going after, and then it goes from that. Once they get people to start getting mad and upset to want to go tear up something, now they're going to go focus on the people that excuse me, they want to go focus on the people that are now causing chaos and stuff like that, which then other leadership positions start to get involved, and they start bringing out the military. They start bringing out the militarized police, and they start bringing out the dogs and all that kind of stuff, and the rubber bullets and the sound machines and things like that, to fight against these people who are lawlessly causing trouble, and so that's the cycle. And then as the time progresses, the rioting, the protesting, and the looting dwindles down, and everybody goes back to being normal again. And what I mean by normal is that they stop fighting, because now it's like, okay, we got rid of all of our initial anger. Now we'll just we'll now just settle down and just be like, it's Things ain't gonna change. They still gonna keep doing this. They still gonna keep doing that. Yeah, that's because you're not doing it right. You gotta go on, and you gotta start attacking the leadership. What I mean by that, you have the power of the vote. Somebody needs to organize something to hold special elections, to start the impeachment process on these leaders. Because let me tell you, the reason why you got these people acting the way that they're acting is because of job security. We nowadays do not hold these people in leadership accountable anymore. The impeachment process is a wonderful process that this country has, and the impeachment process is designed to remove those that are not servicing the people properly. So that's what that's for. And a lot of these people have been up in office for so long that they gotten comfortable, and they are enjoying the perks and benefits of this job. And they know that most of us are not going to sit there and impeach them, so they do whatever the hell they want to do. But when you start impeaching folks, and you start kicking people out, and you start criminalizing those who are in these positions, they're going to start thinking twice about sitting back and letting things go the way they are. So I'm about to this video is about up here. So